Well, welcome back. I hope by now you have mastered that G and D chord. Oh, you haven't. That's okay. We're going to keep moving, right? We're going to continue to build up our knowledge of chords, and the more chords we play, the more chord practicing we do, the easier that G and D is going to come to us, and we're going to see more of those here in just a minute. And we're also going to learn some new chords today. In popular music, there's really three types of chords. Now, there's a lot of other types, okay? But there's basically three that make up most of the pop and rock and country and bluegrass songs that you may enjoy. And those three chord types are major chords, minor chords, and dominant seventh chords, or seventh chords. We are not necessarily going to go too much into the theory behind this of what makes it a major chord or what makes it a minor chord or what makes it a seventh chord. We're just, for right now, we're just going to learn the chords and how to play them. So let's take a look at a couple of more major chords. In our last lesson, we learned the G chord. So again, just as a refresher, we're going to start with the first string. We put our third finger. We're going to play strings 2, 3, and 4 open, meaning we don't have a finger on those strings. We're going to play the fifth string at the second fret with our first finger, and then the sixth string at the third fret with our second finger. So that is the G chord. The other one we learned was D. Okay, and the D chord frets like this. So we have the first string with our second finger at the second fret, third fret, third finger, second string, and then the third string with our first finger at the second fret. We play the fourth string open, and as you see on the chord diagram, those two X's mean that we don't play the fifth and the sixth string, okay? So this is going to be from the fourth string down. Those are the two that we have already learned. Let's add two more to this. The next one we're going to learn is the C chord. Here's how you play the C chord. You're going to play your first string open. At the first fret, on the second string, put your first finger. Now, very important, I want you to play both of those strings together. Just strum them down really quick, like this. Okay? Make sure that both of those notes ring. And don't forget, something that we talked about before is holding your hand like that when you're pressing down on the chords. Make sure you're bending at the little knuckle. It makes it so much easier, and it keeps you from muffling some of the other strings. So we're like this. Okay? The third string is also played open. So let's try that. Let's make sure we don't have another finger touching a string that it shouldn't be. So you go third string, second string, first string. First string, second string, third string. Okay, want to make sure those notes ring out clean. Then you want to go to the second fret on the fourth string and put your second finger. Let's strum that now. Okay, again, we want all of those strings to ring out. Then we go to complete the chord. Let's put our ring finger, our third finger, here at the third fret on the fifth string and strum from the fifth string down. If you notice on the chord chart, there's an X over the sixth string, or the fat string up here. We don't play that, okay? Fifth string down. That is a C chord. Now, let me give you another little piece of advice when it comes to playing chords. A lot of times when people are playing chords, and I've talked a lot about making sure your fingers aren't touching another string or that you're not muting or muffling a string, a lot of times when that happens, people tend to respond to it by just wanting to press down harder, and they get this death grip on the guitar that will eventually cause you to have, I don't know, like some arthritis problem in your hands. Don't do that, okay? Try to wiggle your fingers around a little bit. That will typically solve it. You've got to find it comfortably. Even for me, for as long as I have been playing, sometimes I can grab a chord, and if it doesn't feel right, I've just got to wiggle my fingers around, move them around a little bit, and then I find that sweet spot, if that's what you want to call it. All right, let's take a look at our next chord. Again, we're learning major chords right now. We've learned G, we've learned D, we've learned C. Let's add one more and let's go E. This is an E major chord. Okay, so with the E major chord, we're going to start actually everything we have done so far in building these chords. We have started at the first string, right? We've started on the skinny strings, the high strings. We're going to start on the low strings with this one. So your sixth string gets played open. Okay, your second finger goes on the fifth string at the second fret. Your third finger goes on the fourth string, second fret. And then your first finger, goes on the third string at the first fret. And your first two strings, strings 1 and 2, are just played open. That's the fun thing about playing the E chord, is you can just nail all 6 strings. So that gives you G, D, C, and E major chords. Hold that E chord. Let's take a look now at some minor chords. But we're going to see how some of these chord shapes are very similar to each other. Let's talk about from E major to A minor. That's going to be our first minor chord we learn, is an A minor. And watch this. It's the exact same shape as an E major chord. All you do is move everything down one string. And there it is. You don't strum all 6 this time. You strum from the 5th string down. And there is A minor. So, again, with A minor, you don't play the 6. You start with the 5th string. It's open. Second finger, 2nd fret, 4th string. 2nd fret, 3rd finger, 3rd string. 2nd fret, 1st string, 1st fret, and then open on the high E. We've talked about some chord pairs. There's another one that's easy and it's a lot of fun, going from A minor to E. All right, let's learn another minor chord. Go back to that E major chord again. Take your first finger away. That is E minor. You strum all 6. 6th string gets played open. The 5th string, 2nd fret, 2nd finger. 4th string, 3rd finger, 2nd fret. And then everything else just rings open. That is E minor. So, again, hopefully this will help you memorize or begin to memorize some of those chords, because there are some similarities. E major, take your first finger away. E minor, put your first finger back down again. It is E major. Take that shape, move everything down one string, and it's A minor. A minor, E major, E minor. Okay? So, hopefully that helps give you a little bit of a roadmap for how to be able to memorize some of these chords. The next one we want to look at, and one that we're probably not going to play a ton of right now, but I do want you to know it, and that is the D minor chord. The D minor comes back here, first string, first fret with your first finger. Come to the third fret on the second string, and put your ring finger, and then your middle finger goes on the second fret on the third string, and you are going to strum once again from the fourth string down on D. Let me give you another little tip or a suggestion here. The placement of the thumb when it comes to playing chords. Typically, if you're struggling to play chords, I think one of the issues you'll find is, or one of the questions you need to ask yourself is, where is my thumb? So let me try to help you with some of that, with some of these chords that we have already learned, all right? Let's start with G, for instance. When I play a G chord, and I don't know if we can get a shot of this or not, I'm going to turn this way, and hopefully you can see it. But do you see where my thumb is placed on the neck? Okay, I am not way up here like this. If I do that, I'm going to be muting strings. So I want to bring my thumb back down like this on the back of the neck. It's almost like I'm using my first finger and my thumb to pinch. So try to avoid letting that thumb come way up like this. You want to kind of keep it back towards the, I don't want to say the exact middle of the neck, but kind of towards the top, if you will, of the neck, but you don't want to get up on top of it. So if you're struggling to play some of these chords, pay attention to where your thumb is on the back of the guitar neck, because that can that might be part of your problem. So we have learned major chords, G, D, C, and E. We've learned minor chords, A minor, D minor, and E minor. Now it's time to learn some seventh chords, okay? Let's start with an A7. So with A7, first string plays open, second string is with your third finger on the second fret, third string is open, your fourth string has the second finger, second fret, and then your A string, or your fifth string, is open. Okay, you don't play the sixth. So you want to strum from the fifth string down. That is an A7 chord. Now, remember when we played the C chord? Back earlier, the C chord looked like this. We want to play a C7. And how you want to play the C7 is, remember that open string right here on the third string? We're going to put our pinky, nobody likes to use the pinky, I know, but you want to use your pinky right there on the third fret on the third string. And again, you strum all five. That is a C7 chord. A D7 chord is the opposite of a D chord. Let me show you what I mean by that. Here's your D chord. D chord to me kind of looks like an arrow, right? Like it's the arrows pointing this way. On a D7 chord, the arrow points the other way. So your first finger comes here, first fret, second string. Your second finger, second fret, third string, and then your third finger goes on the first fret at the second string. So it's like you've taken this note that you would normally play right here, and you've just moved it to back here, okay? That's D7. Final seventh chord that we're going to look at is an E7. Remember the E major chord that we learned? That one, do this. Play that E major chord and take your third finger away. Tragic gardening accident, right? You lose your third finger. That is an E7 chord now. So it's an E major chord, just remove your third finger. So just to kind of recap some of this stuff and to give you some ways of kind of being able to memorize some of these chords, you've got E major, pick our first finger up, it's E minor, first finger back down again, it's E major, pick our third finger up, it's E7. We played D. We're going to flip the arrow and point it the other way. That's D7. We played C. We put our pinky down. Becomes a C7 chord. All right, let's take a look at one more seventh chord. This will be the last seventh chord that we're going to learn. It's a G7 chord. Now, we have already learned C, right? You remember C? So what we want to do with C is we want to bring our first finger, drop it down a string, take our second and third fingers and take them up a string, like this, and that becomes G7. You strum all 6 strings. That's an easy way to practice that too. We're going to look at this again a little bit later on, but you'll see the G or C chord, 2, 3, 4, to G7. It's a really simple switch to make.